Anthony Lee.
Anthony, totally gay.
He's a Kinja.
Welcome back to JK Out of the Closet. This was a very requested video. Everyone said if you guys are going to do a series called Out of the Closet, you should start with Anthony. So here we go. So this is about Anthony's journey as a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm not gay. He's super gay.
I didn't know this, but like Eagle Scout is crazy, right? Like it's not easy to get it. It's not like a black belt.
It's the highest rank in scouting.
How long does it take usually to get an Eagle Scout?
It can take a really long time, but if you were to be like let's just say you ranked up in the exact amount of time that you were given to do it, one, you would have to join the Boy Scouts, be well enough to qualify to like start your test for tenderfoot. After that, you got to go into second class and hold a position for 6 months. Go into first class, hold a position for 6 months. Go into Star Scout, hold a position for 6 months.
Oh my God.
Go into Life Scout, hold a higher position.
You're
for
saying
6 months.
gobbledygook. What does it mean?
Well, like
In order to achieve certain ranks, you have to like hold different higher positions. So it's like,
And you have to stay there for a certain amount of time.
so like let's say you need to you need to be a member for like at least 6 months before you can test. After all, you're learning your skills and stuff like that, right? And then you have to hold like a position in your patrol, like quartermaster, which is basic, like just being like the cook or some for like 6 months and going on a certain amount of camps.
6 months.
And then doing like certain amounts of like whatever, right? And then in order to even go into like your second class rank, you got to be like the assistant patrol leader or something for 6 months. And then various other skills and tests. And then to be a first class, you got to go to like be the patrol leader for 6 months. And then you got to be the
You
senior.
said patrol leader for 6 months, I think, the whole time.
No, assistant patrol
Okay,
leader.
my bad.
Patrol
What does
leader.
it mean?
So like if we were one patrol
Yeah.
in the giant troop,
Yeah.
one of us would be the leader, one of us is the assistant, one of us holds this rank or with this position or whatever. So you have to hold these positions for a period of time.
So we all have different jobs.
Yeah. Right? And then there's the whole troop as well, right? So if like we're a patrol and then your favorite like Wong Fu's a patrol and then this and that is a patrol, it's like then you would have to hold something like the assistant senior patrol leader. The senior patrol leader of the whole troop. Okay. And then the senior patrol leader, which is like in charge of the whole troop. So they're like, when you go on camps and stuff, they're going to be in charge of like wrangling the patrol leaders and holding meetings and delegating different tasks. So you're basically just learning how to be a different version of a leader.
Got it.
You know what I mean? You're literally just getting trained to be a leader, let alone the survival skills, outdoor skills, etc., etc. So it takes a fucking long time. And then by the time you get to your Eagle Scout, you additionally, outside of your troop, have to earn like 21 or 23 merit badges or something like that, where you just have to learn a bunch of random skills and get tested by other troop leaders in like the entire district.
It could go anything from like how to be a citizen in the world to basket weaving to life saving to leather works. It could be like
Swimming, fishing.
That sounds so fun.
I know. I wish I was a Boy Scout.
Me too.
It is. It's really. I think it's really dope for kids to just like learn how to work in social groups too.
I was always envious of your kind as a young child.
What was the age that you first started?
So the thing is, to be an official like Boy Scout, you're supposed to I think be like 11. I think that's like the age, because other than that, you're supposed to be like a Cub Scout or something like that. Just
Cub Scout. I forgot about that.
My dad, he was a Boy Scout in Vietnam, so when he came over and was a refugee in Hawaii, he ended up like starting and meeting up with the other Boy Scouts that he was in the troop with that left Vietnam. So they started like chapters there, and then when he came over to California when I was born, he started a troop in California. So, and this is like Vietnamese scouting. It's not like American Boy Scouting. American Boy Scouting is a lot of like, I guess the bigger difference is like when all of your troop leaders came from like wartime, they're extremely militant. Whereas like in the American Boy Scouts, it's like, all I remember is going to camps with these kids that like all their troop leaders are fat as They had like car batteries that were like powering their Super Nintendos in their tents with air mattresses.
What?
I have a question.
Kind of tight.
That's what they were doing?
Love that troop.
Okay, you know like the Boy Scouts of America, the franchise?
Yeah.
Did your dad just make this up in Vietnam? Is it a separate group or is it actually a part of the same thing?
So the actual Boy Scouts in general started in Britain by this guy named Baden Powell in like 1907 or something like that. So like Boy Scouting Baden-Powell.
Baden-Powell.
Robert Baden-Powell. Sir Robert Baden-Powell.
Wow.
So it's just scouting, like outdoor survivals. It's like a space for young boys to learn. And eventually they made the Girl Scouts like 3 years later, which is a slightly different
It's not as cool.
stuff. But the Boy Scouts of America specifically, one of the best things that the Boy Scouts of America does that's different from like many other scouting organizations around the world is they're very military in that they have ranks. So it's like the concept of becoming an Eagle Scout, I think that was like the more unique to American style scout.
Oh,
Cool.
So much so that if you join the military, if you're an Eagle Scout, you already start at the second rank in the military.
what?
But you don't have to start as a private. You'll start as a private first class
What?
if you're an Eagle Scout.
So it counts.
Whoa,
Like
that's crazy.
Sick.
credits.
Respect that shit?
Yeah, they do.
It carries over.
Because they teach you shit that's like applicable in that space. Because you also gotta like follow orders, stand in line, and do a certain type, salute. You know
Okay,
what I
real
mean?
question. Put an Eagle Scout against like a Marine. How much does the Eagle Scout know just day one? No. Actual question.
I would say if
Good
it's
question.
Marine in boot camp day one, the Eagle Scout smashes on day one boot
okay.
camp.
Wow.
Maybe after the first couple of weeks.
Like 6 hours?
No,
Going back to, I just wanted to know the difference between, okay, so there's Boy Scouts of America, and then did your dad have Boy Scouts of Vietnam? And
Yeah,
he
so
was-
there's like Boy Scout troops in Vietnam.
So it's a worldwide organization, and they have their own
There's Boy
rules.
Scouts
And
everywhere.
then so you said Vietnamese Boy Scouts is hardcore.
They just came from the war, especially the ones that came over to America. So everything's way more militant. So like for example, if like I would, again, this is just my experience, but growing up, like if like we went to the camporees, like the Orange County ones or whatever, and then we're like in competition with the other like American Boy Scout troops, sometimes you're just seeing these kids like mouthing off or yelling at their like troop leaders and stuff like that, and just being your white boy friends that were like in high school. Yo, if we like don't stand in line quick enough, or our handkerchiefs like not on, we're just doing push-ups right away. You know what I mean? Or if we don't like, my dad, like he was the troop leader, so when we would be in car rides and we're just driving around and I'm sitting in the front seat, he would point at street signs, and before we passed that street intersection, I would have to spell it out in Morse code. Like
oh
he was
shit, your dad's gangster.
But he started the troop.
Extra gangster.
Wait, what did that look like? Yeah, the
No
beat.
Morse code?
Yeah, like
Did you
a
have to
whistle, or if I didn't have the whistle on me, I would literally be like, like I would just make fucking sounds. I know mostly Morse.
That's crazy. That's a,
You guys know Morse code?
My shit was like not slashing.
You guys wind talkers, dude? Is that the same thing?
But who does that nowadays? Who's actually blowing SOSs? You know what I mean? Over a fucking.
Hey, but sometimes in movies when someone's kidnapped, they need to do that.
The funniest thing,
Independence Day, that's how they saved the day.
yeah, the funniest thing now is like when we do escape rooms and Morse code is there, like I'm like the first one like through the door. That's like the only time I use it.
That's fucking crazy.
wow, weird.
The real point of this, or like even why I wrote this, because you know, like when Bart was like talking about like what are some major things that
That we can exploit for advertising revenue.
absolutely.
That's what he said.
I think it comes down to more so like what it did for on one hand my relationship with my dad, and then on the other hand like I think why, and you'll understand this too, like why for some reason I can't just be in like a thing or an organization or group. Like I somehow always feel this shadowed pressure to need to be like the leader in it, because otherwise I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's
you know
good.
what I mean? So like
Because you have so much leadership ability, or like you've been in that experience, or
maybe my dad's gonna be like, you're just, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like he was the troop leader, so I was always in the shadow. Like you're supposed to be in 11. I went to a camp as a kid, and then they just literally, I remember they grabbed my shirt and they threw me into one of the patrols, right? And they're like, hey, you just gotta join this one. And then everybody, all the parents would always be like, oh, that's Hayes' kid, or whatever, you know, and they would just keep on saying that I'm like that guy's kid. And I never knew how like gangster my dad was in the world of scouting, but he's like fucking gangster, by the way. It's like
That's tight.
in the Vietnamese world of scouting, and even in the American ones too, because he even ran like some like crazy other side organizations during his Boy Scouting career. But point is, like, I would always just be that guy's kid, so people always were expecting me to like be good enough
To know Morse code on.
And the crazy thing is, on my journey to becoming an Eagle Scout, again, the first rank is tenderfoot. And so I was, as a kid, 11, 12 years old at this point, my dad's a troop leader. I'm thinking, like, shit's in the bag. Like,
I got it.
Nepotism.
You know, like I didn't get it, but like yeah,
Nepotism badge.
right. And I remember that like 7 or 8 of us, like a camp was coming up, and it was like time for like 7 or 8 of us to you get like nominated in our troop to like your patroller to be like, I believe this person's ready to rank in tenderfoot, and they make it a big deal. They're like, if you get tenderfoot, it's like you consider this shit your second birthday. You know what I mean? Wow. Like you've truly become a scout. You didn't just like kind of join and test it out. It's like you really are now a scout for the rest of your life. You get like entered into the fucking database of like you're an official, blah blah blah, right? And so my dad's a troop leader, so he's like the last kind of dude who like finally does the testing, and it's like right before the camp. There's like 7 or 8 of us, and at all 7 or 8 of us, he passes everybody but me.
What? He wanted to make it extra hard on you?
If only LeBron did that to Bronny.
And this shit fucking devastated me at that age.
Wow.
And I was so embarrassed. And it's like everybody was talking about it, and it was like a thing. You know what I mean? It was like the whisper, like some of the kids would make fun of me for it when I would go back to like camp that weekend and stuff like that. It's like, oh, weren't you supposed to go test for your tenderfoot? And they're like, dude, no, his dad failed him. You know what I mean? And it was just like a thing. And I remember just being so, at the time, not knowing that it was like probably the best thing that should have happened to me and my arrogant ass, you know what I mean? But once I got past the issues and the anger and all that stuff, just being like, number one, there's that fear of like, if I go for a test again, there's no way I can get failed twice. Yeah. Like that would just be the most social suicide thing, you know what I mean? So I had to step it up. I had to be in the weirdest way, like that same kind of first one in, last one out type thing. And it literally did happen because my dad's a troop leader. He's driving to the scout meetings before everybody gets there. We're the one who has to fucking tie up the flagpole and lash it together. We're the ones who have to stay after when the meeting's done so that we can take it all down and clean up and pack out. So I'm like, I have to stay here. I better get fucking good at all these things. And so I just started getting really intense with like Boy Scout skills, like needing to memorize semaphore, compass reading, fire starting, cooking, like Morse code, first aid, like not slashing.
How fast can you start a fire from 0?
What's 0?
Like a lighter?
Wait, good example.
Like there's no wood.
You ever watch Survivor? Yeah, they have to make a fire to survive at the end.
I for sure can start it better than some of those people.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Did your dad?
0 is funny.
Do you think that you deserve that fail, or did he do it to teach you a lesson? Because you were okay, you could have passed, but then he wanted you to go harder. Like which one would it?
I feel like if it wasn't my dad, they would have let me pass, but I just would have been another person.
I see.
Because they also, like, I assume that in membership and stuff like that, you kind of want to, like, again, a young kid, you want to give him a little bit of those stripes early to be like, hey, you did it, and then we can slowly, like, roll you into, like, you don't deserve this, blah, blah, blah. But for my dad, he's probably not, like, he's like, dude, you're going to be a fucking scout. You're stuck with me. You know what I mean? You don't get to quit.
Yeah.
So he's probably just
it's like a nigga a black belt because he worked there.
Yeah, that's it. Did you ever have a conversation with your dad, like, about why? Or about later?
No, I was just mad. I was just mad at that time.
What about as an adult? Like, hey, Dad, why'd you fucking film me?
The funny thing is, as an adult, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, by now it's like...
it worked for me, you know what I mean? It like got me fueled and pissed off to the point where there was some drama that happened and blah, blah, blah. So my dad ended up leaving that troop that he started and then just starting another one like down the city, you know what I mean? And then I ended up being the first Eagle Scout in that troop. Granted, I was like one of the first members at this point, but like just the idea of being like, I need to kill this shit. I need to kill this game. I need to be good at this. And, you know, at the end of the day, you think you're doing it for you, but like there's like half of your mind and your heart's like, I really just want to prove it to my dad that like I'm worthy, you know, or I'm good enough. Because like to this day, I can't recall a single moment where my dad's like, as cheesy as it is, I don't recall a single moment that he said like fucking the L word to me, like I love you. And like I'm not bothered by it, but it's a thing that you have as a relationship with your
clearly
like,
not bothered.
parent.
Yeah.
He just keeps saying, start a fire from 0.
Then I love you. Start a fire from -5, huh?
But
It's just a bunch of water on.
But I recognize, and let me know if you relate. Let me know if you relate. I never cry in movies, but if it's a father-son complex,
You've said that. You said that.
yeah, I'm like, that shit fucks me up all the time.
I think Asian dads just don't really say I love you. One time I said it to my dad on the phone, he was like, all right, see you later.
And I'm like, oh.
I do that shit all the time. Now I joke about it. I'm like, hey, I love you, pops. He's like, okay. And I'm like,
Dude, at
that's
least you got to hang out with
crazy.
your fucking dad. Dude, it must be nice. I didn't get to hang out with my dad like ever till I was like
Did
15.
it feel like hanging out?
It was not hanging out. It was definitely getting yelled at a lot.
But at least you were in his presence.
You're just another Boy Scout member
You going to work with your dad?
with a target on your back.
The difference is he's allowed to hit me.
Oh,
It's a difference. You know?
Have you
Loophole.
around camp and stuff?
Dude, he wouldn't do it in front of people, but you knew. You knew when I was gonna, like, the troop would know if I was gonna go in that car and get my ass whooped later.
Oh shit!
damn, dude.
Hey, were you a wild boy though? Were you a funny boy?
I don't think I was like the wild ones, because there's, there are kids that are in there that are like in Vietnamese gangs and their parents are bringing them over there because they're like fucking around, or kids that are getting expelled and stuff too, and we're like, it's the Vietnamese scout troop. So we're in Garden Grove in Westminster area. It's like all just like the hoodlum kids, or the kids that literally just like, they don't have anywhere else to go on weekends, so their parents just dump them. You know what I mean? Like we're the boys. We're like the Boys and Girls Club.
Were you in charge of being in the leadership role to, like, hoodlum kids?
It's not like they put only just the hoodlums. Like everybody gets dispersed. You know what I mean? In just different patrols, and we had like maybe like 7 patrols in our Boy Scout troop. Everybody has to have a fucking flag, and you have to have your team cheers and stuff. You know what I mean? And then every week there's like some sort of test or game or skilled learning activity, and then you go to camps in order to get like a giant test and see who wins different medals and whatnot to prove your skills.
As a kid, that sounds so tight.
It is. It's also a chore when you're a kid because you can't appreciate shit. You're just not mature enough. And you're just like, also like when your other homies in school are like going to play basketball on Sundays and you're like stuck fucking putting on your uniform and whatnot. You know
This
what I mean?
sucks.
Sometimes you don't appreciate it. In retrospect, like, or now, if I had a son or daughter, I would throw them in the Boy Scouts for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It just teaches you so much. But ever since then, going like all the way through every organization I joined, whether it be like Club Live in junior high, or the American Red Cross, or CADC or SPOP or whatever, every single thing that I've been a part of, even starting Kindreds or Culture Shock LA, I always didn't just join. I would join, and then if I liked it to stay long enough, I had to become like the captain or coordinator or director or leader or whatever the fuck.
So when are you gonna take over JK?
Yeah, because we're looking for a leader.
Yeah, please.
I was getting excited about it, and then Ryan showed up, and I was like,
Yeah, smart.
You can still do it. Trust me.
When did you? Because it felt like when you're brought into it with your dad, it felt more like, fuck, I have to do this under my dad. I have no choice. When did you really appreciate that you were Eagle Scout, or you have the skills of an Eagle Scout?
it gave me a sense of identity, because I think like I also didn't have anything else that, like, weirdly enough, like, you see you're way richer, or just not even way richer. I was just the poor family in every circle that I was a part of, whether it be in school, even in my own extended family. Like my dad was like the poor cheap ass compared to like the brothers and sisters that came over. And so like if they had piano school, or if they had like their private school homies that would go on snowboarding trips, or if like these people were in like sports programs, and like I remember even junior high, I'm just not athletic. Like I'm like artistic athletic, where like I can use like my creative to like do something physical, but when you like actually throw me into something truly athletic, outside of outlifting Joe, like I'm terrible at sports in general, you know what I mean? So I would try out for stuff, I didn't make it, I just had no sense of identity, so it started to become this feeling where I'm like, oh, this is something I do, and apparently I'm doing it really well. And that gave me a sense of like purpose. But like, you don't say, I think if anything, the only thing I regret is not appreciating the experience of it early enough, and focusing on what that did for like my family, because my sister's a hardcore like Boy Scouting person too.
She still does it now, right?
She still does it now.
Oh shit.
That's like her
with her
thing.
kids?
The kids aren't old enough yet, but she went through the whole. She became the troop leader when my dad retired.
Oh, Boy Scouts.
Of our troop, yeah. And she ran like she goes on like world jamborees.
Wow.
And is like on the board for like giant different things. Like,
What do you do at a World Jamboree?
same thing but on a world level. It's like the Olympic version of like testing.
Boy Scout troops would come together and
Build a fire from zero.
Build a fire from -5.
You know, it's crazy now that I hear more about how extensive your experience is. when you went on that like mini rant talking about Girl Scouts, and then there were people in the comments that thought they could say shit to you, and how you were just like,
Some
you can't
dancer?
say nothing.
Some dancer.
Yeah, it's like now you really can say that because not only is the faction he's talking against is his sister.
Yeah,
So it's like-
yeah.
Yeah, the only two people that I saw that a lot of those comments.
Yeah.
There was two people that were in there that were in my troop with me, my sister and one of our. But I'm like, okay, I know you guys are gonna give me shit because it's funny.
Wait, your
but
sister watches JK?
She watches those clips, like shorts and stuff for sure. Hey, relax, Steve.
I'm on my best behavior.
I'm way more nervous about my mother-in-law watching.
That's tough.
Same, actually, same.
Dude,
I gotta ask you this before we go. The whole Girl Scouts thing, the cookies. Do you guys just think Boy Scouts is that hack? Is that like, oh well, you know? Because what do you guys do? Magazine sales or some shit? What do you guys do?
Popcorn and shit.
Popcorn. Yeah,
Popcorn.
nobody knows about
And
it.
then with the little like boxcar racing shit,
like
you know what I mean?
sell bells or something. But like whatever, what are the Girl Scouts? They sell like it's international. Everyone like people ship it everywhere.
Girl Scout cookies is like the number one thing.
Number one thing.
And then for that, they shit on the Boy Scouts
They-
in terms
right.
of like their organization. And then the Boy Scouts also went through a really hardcore issue where like, you know, during the
Fiddling diddling.
yeah, the fiddling diddling.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think it comes to the territory.
Yeah, I heard a lot of huffing and puffing too.
fiddling, diddling, huffing, puffing,
That's what I
the
heard.
whole nine.
Yeah.
what was the consensus, or at least around the circles that you knew, when they were trying to say that girls should be able to join Boy Scouts?
Look at the time.
Oh, we are out of time. We will continue with exactly that question, and we'll do it for 20 minutes.
I didn't want him to join, dude.
Anthony Lee Out the Closet episode. Don't worry, we'll start with it, and we'll do a full 22-minute episode about it. All right, we'll be back.